I still remember the exact moment my life changed. It was a Tuesday afternoon in March, 2:47 p.m. according to the timestamp on my computer. I was sitting in our home office, the one Jennifer and I had painted sage green because she'd read it promoted focus and calm. Ironic, considering what I was about to discover would destroy both. The room smelled like coffee and the lavender candle Jennifer always kept burning. Outside, our neighbor's dog was barking at something, probably a squirrel. These mundane details are burned into my memory because they were the last moments of my old life, the life where I trusted my wife completely. I'd taken the afternoon off from my job as a financial analyst to gather documents for our mortgage refinancing. Interest rates had dropped, and with my meticulous credit management, we stood to save almost $400 a month. That money was earmarked for our daughter Emma's college fund and our son Jake's orthodontics. Let's see what we're working with, I muttered to myself, logging into our credit monitoring service. It was supposed to be routine. A simple check to ensure everything was in order before the lender pulled their own reports. My score appeared first, 785. Excellent, as always. I'd spent years building it, treating credit like a game where the high score actually mattered. Every payment on time, utilization under 10%, diverse credit mix, I'd mastered the algorithm. I clicked over to Jennifer's report, expecting to see something similar. She was even more organized than I was, with color-coded folders for every financial document and spreadsheets tracking our spending down to the penny. I blinked hard, sure I'd misread it. Refreshed the page. Still 642. What the hell? I said to the empty room, leaning closer to the screen. Jennifer's credit had always matched mine. Sometimes it was even higher. She'd laugh about beating me at my own game. A 642 meant something was seriously wrong. That was barely fair credit territory, the kind of score that got you rejected for apartment rentals. I clicked into the detailed report, scanning through the familiar entries. Our mortgage showed perfect payment history. Her car loan the same. Our 3 shared credit cards, Chase Freedom, Amex Blue, Capital One Venture, all showing 0 balances and perfect payment records. Then, at the bottom of the list, an entry that made my blood run cold. Chase Sapphire Reserve Account Type. Joint account holders, Jennifer Martinez and Marcus Chen balance. $18,547.23 credit limit, $20,000. Payment history, 3 months delinquent. The coffee mug slipped from my hand, sending a brown cascade across the desk. I didn't move to clean it. I couldn't move at all. Marcus Chen. Jennifer's gay best friend who'd been part of our lives for 5 years. Marcus, who came to every barbecue, who'd helped us move into this house, who'd taught Emma to ride a bike, who'd been Jennifer's man of honor at our wedding renewal ceremony just 2 years ago. Gay Marcus. Safe Marcus. Trusted Marcus. My hands trembled as I clicked on the transaction history. The page loaded with agonizing slowness, each second stretching like an eternity. When it finally appeared, I wished it hadn't. The evidence unfolds. The transactions read like a screenplay for an affair. Ritz-Carlton, Miami Beach, $2,447.89. February 9th, 12. Couples Romance Package, Ocean View Suite, Nobu, Malibu, $485.73. February 14th, Valentine's Special Menu for 2 Tiffany & Co., $3,267.90. February 15th, Atlas Collection. Earrings. Victoria's Secret, $428.45. March 2nd, multiple items. Beverly Hills location. Four Seasons. Beverly Hills, $1,893.56. March 8, 10, weekend spa retreat, couples package. I scrolled through page after page, each transaction a dagger. The pattern was clear weekend trips when Jennifer had told me she was at conferences or visiting her sister in San Francisco. Romantic dinners on days she'd claimed to have client meetings. Shopping sprees when she'd said she was at the gym. Jesus Christ, I whispered, my voice cracking. I grabbed the printer, feeding it paper with shaking hands. The machine whirred to life, spitting out evidence of my wife's betrayal at 8 pages per minute. As each page emerged, I highlighted key transactions with a yellow marker that Jennifer had labeled "for important documents only" in her perfect handwriting. February 14th, Valentine's Day. I'd been home with the kids, making them heart-shaped pancakes while Jennifer attended a mandatory work training that couldn't be rescheduled. I'd even apologized for being bitter about it. March 3rd, my 38th birthday. Jennifer had been too sick to celebrate, spending the evening in bed with a migraine. I'd brought her tea and kept the kids quiet. Meanwhile, the credit card showed a $673.42 charge at Le Bernardin, one of the most expensive restaurants in Los Angeles. April 20th, our 10th anniversary. I'd gotten her roses and a card. She'd given me a coffee mug that said "World's Okayest Husband" as a joke. Apparently, Marcus had given her something from Tiffany's worth $3,267.90. But it was the hotel charges that really painted the picture. The Ritz-Carlton, Four Seasons, St. Regis, always weekend packages, always for two, always when Jennifer had convenient excuses to be away. I created a spreadsheet, my analyst brain needing to quantify the betrayal. Total charges, $18,547.23. Number of transactions, 247 average transaction. $75.09 hotel stays, 19 restaurant visits. 43 jewelry purchases, 8 lingerie purchases, 11 lingerie purchases. My gay best friend had bought my wife lingerie 11 times. The investigation begins. I needed more information. Opening Instagram on my phone, the app Jennifer always teased me for barely using. I searched for Marcus Chen. His profile was public, a carefully curated display of his life. The bio read, "Digital Marketing Manager, vertical bar. Proud gay man, vertical bar. Taken by Tony Rod, vertical bar." Living my truth in LA, I scrolled through his recent posts. Brunch photos with captions about Sunday Funday with the gays. Pride parade pictures. Couple selfies with Tony Rodriguez, his boyfriend of 3 years according to their anniversary posts. They looked genuinely happy, arms around each other, matching smiles, coordinating outfits. "Poor Tony," I muttered, clicking over to his profile. Tony Rodriguez was a real estate agent with Compass, specializing in luxury properties. His feed was a mix of stunning houses, lifestyle shots, and countless photos with Marcus. Their most recent post, from just 3 days ago, showed them at a wine tasting in Malibu. 3 years with this amazing man, the caption read. Here's to forever. I had Tony's business card somewhere. He'd helped us look at investment properties last year. Professional, enthusiastic, genuinely likable. He'd even brought us a bottle of wine as a housewarming gift when we'd considered upgrading. Finding the card in my desk drawer, I stared at his number. Once I made this call, there was no going back. No pretending I hadn't seen what I'd seen. No maintaining the careful facade of our suburban life. My phone felt heavy as I dialed. "Tony Rodriguez, Compass Realty? How can I help you today?" His voice was bright, professional, expecting a potential client. "Tony, this is Paul Martinez, Jennifer's husband." "Paul, hey buddy, how are you? You guys ready to look at more properties?" "I just got a listing in Manhattan Beach that would be perfect for—" "Tony, I need to ask you something. It's delicate." His tone shifted immediately, the salesman persona dropping. "Is everything okay? Is Jennifer all right? Did you know Marcus has a joint credit card with my wife?" The silence stretched so long I pulled the phone away to check if the call had dropped. "I'm sorry, what?" His voice was barely above a whisper. "I'm looking at the statement right now. $18,500 in debt. Hotels, restaurants, jewelry, very expensive friendship." That's not possible. You must be mistaken. Marcus is gay. We live together. We're talking about adopting. We have an appointment with an agency next month." "Check his wallet. Chase Sapphire Reserve. Joint account with Jennifer Martinez. I heard movement, drawers opening, footsteps on hardwood floors. He's in the shower. I'm home early from a showing. Hold on. More rustling, the sound of papers moving, then a sharp intake of breath. Oh my God, I'm looking at it right now. This can't be. When was this opened? 13 months ago, right around when Jennifer started having more girls' nights and work conferences. Jesus Christ, the charges! Paul, what am I looking at here? Want the highlights? February 14th, Nobu Malibu, $485. Very romantic platonic Valentine's dinner. Valentine's Day. He said he was working late on a campaign. He brought me takeout from In-N-Out as an apology. March 15th, Ritz-Carlton, Miami Beach, $2,400. The weekend he was at that digital marketing conference. He sent me photos from boring seminars. Said the hotel was full of straight tech bros. Well, someone's tech got serviced. This isn't happening. This can't be happening. His voice was rising, panic setting in. Paul, there are lingerie charges on here from Agent Provocateur. That's a women's lingerie store. 11 separate purchases totaling $3,200. Either Marcus has a very expensive cross-dressing hobby or he's been buying lingerie for your wife. Tony's voice had gone cold. I'm going to kill him. The conference call confrontation. Wait, I said, an idea forming. Don't confront him yet. Let's do this together. What do you mean? Conference call. You, me, and Marcus. Let him try to explain this to both of us at once. That's brilliant and cruel. I love it. Tony's voice had taken on an edge. He just turned off the shower. Give him 5 minutes to get dressed. I'll call him from the kitchen and add you in. Tony, I'm sorry you're finding out this way. We're both victims here, Paul. Let's make sure they know it. I waited, staring at the credit card statements spread across my desk. The coffee stain had spread, seeping into the wood, but I couldn't bring myself to care. In the corner of the monitor, a photo of our family smiled back at me. Last Christmas, all of us in matching pajamas. Marcus had taken that photo. My phone rang. Unknown number. Paul Martinez? I answered formally. Paul, hey brother! Marcus's voice was its usual cheerful tone. Tony said you needed to talk to me about something? Is everything okay? Jen mentioned you were working from home today. Just reviewing some financial documents, mortgage stuff. You know how it is. Oh yeah, paperwork's a killer. Hey, did Jen tell you about the new campaign I'm working on? It's for this amazing. Marcus, I interrupted. Tony's on the line too. Dead silence. Then, his voice an octave higher. Tony? Baby? Why are you... I thought you had showings until 6. Came home early. Tony's voice was arctic cold. Found something interesting in your wallet. My wallet? Why were you... Chase Sapphire Reserve, joint account with Jennifer Martinez. Want to explain that? It's not $18,000, Marcus, I added helpfully. Pretty expensive for a friendship. It's not what it looks like. Marcus's panic was palpable through the phone. Then what does it look like? Tony screamed. Because from here it looks like you've been funding an affair with a married woman while I've been planning our future. Tony, baby, please let me explain. Explain the Valentine's Day dinner at Nobu? I interjected. The one where you were supposedly working late? That was a work dinner. For 2 people? With champagne on Valentine's Day? We were celebrating a campaign win. Must have been a hell of a campaign, Tony spat. What did you win? The right to buy her lingerie? I never... Agent Provocateur, Marcus, 11 purchases, $3,200. What kind of gay man spends $3,000 on women's underwear? It was gifts for her birthday and... Her birthday is in September, I shouted. These purchases are spread throughout the year. Try again. I heard a door slam through the phone. Marcus was moving, probably trying to get away from Tony. Where are you going? Tony's voice was distant now. We're not done. I need to sit down and explain this. Let me pull up some more evidence, I said, scrolling through transactions. June 10th, Harry Winston, $4,000. That explains the new earrings Jennifer said she bought on clearance at Nordstrom. Harry Winston! Tony's voice cracked. You told me we couldn't afford the adoption lawyer fees until next year. We can't. We couldn't. Because you spent the money on jewelry for another man's wife? It's complicated. It's really not, I said. Here's another good one. August 15th, La Perla, $800, more lingerie, very practical gift for a married woman from her gay best friend. Stop calling me that! What should I call you? My wife's boyfriend? Her side piece? The man who's been playing gay for 3 years? I am gay, Marcus shouted. Bisexual at best, Tony corrected, and a lying piece of garbage at worst. The sound of footsteps echoed above me. Jennifer was home from work early. Perfect timing. Hold that thought, I said. The co-conspirator just arrived. Jennifer enters the scene. I heard her heels on the hardwood, that familiar click-click that used to signal the best part of my day. Now it sounded like a countdown to detonation. Paul, she called out. You home? I saw your car in the... She appeared in the doorway, work bag on her shoulder, smile on her face. She looked beautiful. She always did. Hair perfect, makeup flawless, wearing the kind of dress that made other husbands jealous. For a split second, I hoped this was all a mistake, a misunderstanding that would become a funny story we'd tell at parties. Then she saw the credit card statements spread across the desk. The color drained from her face like someone had pulled a plug. Hi, honey, I said with saccharine sweetness. I was just catching up with Tony and Marcus. You know Tony, right? Marcus's boyfriend of 3 years? We're discussing your joint financial ventures. Paul, I can explain... No. I held up my hand. No explaining, just listening. Tony, you still there? Still here. Still processing my boyfriend's heterosexual adventures. Heterosexual adventures, I repeated. I like that. Very diplomatic. Jennifer lunged for the phone. I rolled my chair back, keeping it out of reach like a game of keep away. Paul, please, this isn't what? Isn't what it looks like? Because it looks like you and your gay best friend have been having an affair for over a year and charging it to a credit card I didn't know existed. It's not an affair, she protested, tears starting to form. Oh, I'm sorry. What do you call secret hotel stays, romantic dinners, and jewelry purchases with someone who's not your husband? It's complicated. So I keep hearing. Tony, has Marcus explained the complications yet? He's trying to convince me that buying lingerie for a married woman is normal gay behavior. Fascinating. Marcus, I'm genuinely curious. In your extensive experience as a gay man, how often do you take married women to the Ritz-Carlton? Go to hell! Marcus shouted through the phone. Already there, buddy. It's called finding out your wife has been sleeping with her gay best friend. Jennifer sank into the chair across from my desk, her perfectly composed facade crumbling. How did you find out? Mortgage refinance. Needed to check our credit. Imagine my surprise finding out my wife has been financing an affair at 24.9% APR. The interest rate isn't the point. You're right. The point is the $18,000 in debt you've racked up playing house with Marcus. The fake gay Marcus. The Marcus who's supposedly planning to adopt children with Tony. We are planning to adopt, Marcus protested through the phone. With what money? Tony screamed. You've spent $20,000 on your secret girlfriend. She's not my girlfriend. Then what is she? I asked. Your business partner? Your roommate? Your really expensive friend who requires lingerie? The unraveling continues. Jennifer was crying now, mascara running in black rivers down her cheeks. You don't understand? Then help me understand. Start with why you needed a secret credit card. It wasn't supposed to be secret. Joint credit cards require notification to both spouses in California. I never received any notification. That's fraud, by the way. My lawyer will love this. Your lawyer? Her head snapped up. Oh yes, We're way past the let's talk about this phase. We're in the legal documentation phase now. Paul, please, the kids. The kids who think Uncle Marcus is gay? Those kids? The ones who've been lied to for over a year? We never meant for it to happen. Marcus's voice crackled through the speaker. Which part? Tony asked. The part where you pretended to love me? The part where you moved in with me? The part where we spent 3 years building a life together? Which part didn't you mean to happen? I do love you. You love me so much you've been sleeping with a woman, buying her jewelry, taking her on romantic vacations. That's a funny way of showing love. I pulled up more transactions. Let's review some highlights. September 22nd, Cartier, $2,800. What was that, Jennifer? Another work bonus you forgot to mention? She shook her head, unable to speak through the tears. October 31st, Halloween. Shutters on the beach, $1,200. You told me you were taking Emma trick-or-treating in your sister's neighborhood because they gave out full-size candy bars. I did take her trick-or-treating. Before or after your romantic dinner? Paul. November 25th, Black Friday. While I was home with the kids eating Thanksgiving leftovers, you were at the Beverly Hills Hotel charging $1,500. Shopping for bargains? Stop, she whispered. December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas. Ritz-Carlton again, $2,400. I was wrapping presents with the kids, teaching them how to make bows. You were unwrapping something else entirely. Enough, Jennifer screamed. I'm just getting started. January 8th, Agent Provocateur, $800. New Year's resolution to buy more expensive underwear? Tony's voice cut through. That was my birthday weekend. Marcus said he was visiting his sick mother in San Francisco. Plot twist, he was visiting my sick wife in a hotel suite. I'm not sick, Jennifer protested. Mentally? Debatable. Morally? Definitely. The meeting demand. Here's what's going to happen, I announced, pulling up my lawyer's contact information. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., we're all meeting at Goldberg & Associates. That's my attorney's office on Wilshire. I'm not going to, Marcus started. Yes, you are. Unless you want me to post these credit card statements on Facebook. Tag all our mutual friends. Maybe your colleagues at that digital marketing firm? I'm sure they'd love to know how you spend client entertainment budgets. That's blackmail, Jennifer protested. No, that's transparency, something you two forgot existed. I grabbed my keys and wallet. Bring your own lawyers. You'll need them. Paul, please, can we just talk about this? Jennifer's tears had smudged her makeup, making her look like a raccoon, a lying, cheating raccoon. We can talk tomorrow, with legal representation and financial advisors, and maybe a psychiatrist to explain why Marcus thought pretending to be gay was a good foundation for a relationship. I didn't pretend. Save it for the lawyers. Tony, I'm heading to the Marriott downtown. Want to grab a drink and compare notes? Absolutely. I need several drinks and possibly a therapist. Paul, you can't just leave. Jennifer stood up, wobbling in her heels. What about the kids? They're at soccer practice until 6. Your mom is picking them up for her sleepover night. Remember? The one you scheduled so you could have a girls' night tonight? I made air quotes. Let me guess. Drinks with Marcus? Her silence was all the confirmation I needed. Thought so. Tony, I'll see you in an hour. Bring any evidence you have. Photos, texts, whatever. Already packing Marcus's things, Tony said. Finding some interesting receipts in his drawer. Tony, no, Marcus pleaded. Those are private. Privacy? You want to talk about privacy? You've been invading my privacy for 3 years, living a lie in my bed. I headed for the door, pausing to look back at Jennifer one last time. Oh, and Jen, might want to figure out how you're paying that 18 grand. The gravy train just got derailed. Paul, wait. I left her there, surrounded by the evidence of her betrayal, mascara-stained and shaking. The sound of Tony and Marcus's argument continued through the phone until I finally hung up. Meeting Tony the bar at the Marriott was exactly what I needed. Dark, quiet, and fully stocked. Tony was already there when I arrived, sitting at a corner booth with a laptop and a stack of papers. He looked like I felt shell-shocked, angry, and desperately in need of alcohol. "Paul," he nodded as I slid into the booth. "Tony, what are you drinking?" "Whiskey. Neat. Doubles." "Make it 2, I told the waitress. We sat in silence until the drinks arrived, then clinked glasses with grim solidarity. "To finding out the truth," Tony said. "To gay best friends who are actually gay," I countered. We both drank deeply. "How long have you suspected?" I asked. "I didn't, not even a little." He laughed bitterly. 3 years. 3 years of my life. We were looking at adoption agencies. I have brochures in my car." "I'm sorry." He was so convincing. Pride parades, gay bars, the whole thing. His coming out story made me cry. Said his parents disowned him, that I was his chosen family. Jesus. Right? Meanwhile, he's choosing your wife's lingerie. Tony pulled out his laptop. "Want to see what I found?" He opened a folder full of photos. Marcus and Jennifer at various locations, clearly taken by Marcus as selfies. They were careful. No kissing, no overtly romantic poses, but the intimacy was obvious. "Look at this one," Tony pointed to a beach photo. "Laguna Beach last July. He told me he was at a work retreat." Jennifer said she was at her college roommate's baby shower in Portland. "Here's another. Napa Valley, September. I was at a real estate conference in Vegas. Our anniversary weekend. She said she needed space to think about our marriage. Guess she thought about it in a hotel bed with my boyfriend. We spent the next hour sharing evidence, building a timeline of deception. Our phones became weapons, revealing lie after lie through photos, social media posts, and credit card records. "Look at this," I showed him Jennifer's Instagram. "Posted this on Valentine's Day. Missing my hubby but work calls. #girlboss #working late." Meanwhile, Marcus posted this. Tony showed me a photo of a sunset. Generic sunset photo with "grateful for another day" as the caption. Now I know why he was grateful. The effort they put into this lie. It's almost impressive. If they'd put half this effort into their actual relationships, we wouldn't be here, devastating our livers. The legal strategy. After 3 drinks, I called David Goldberg, my attorney. Despite it being after hours, he answered on the second ring. The beauty of paying premium legal fees. "Paul? What's the emergency?" "My wife's been having an affair. I have proof. Credit card fraud, hidden debt, the works." "Slow down. Start from the beginning." I explained everything while Tony listened, occasionally adding details about Marcus's deception. David's occasional and interesting punctuated my narrative. "Bring everything tomorrow," David said when I finished. "All documentation. This is going to be complicated." "How complicated?" "Well, the good news is the financial fraud works in your favor for divorce proceedings. Hidden debt, secret credit cards, judges don't like that. The bad news is California is a no-fault state, so the affair itself doesn't matter legally." "What about custody?" "The deception could work in your favor there. Shows poor judgment, lack of integrity, but courts generally favor joint custody unless there's danger to the children." "And the debt. If you can prove you had no knowledge of it and it was incurred for the affair, you might avoid responsibility, but that's a fight." "What about me?" Tony asked. "I'm not married to Marcus, but we've been living together for 3 years. Joint accounts, shared expenses." "That's trickier. Without marriage, you have fewer protections. But if you can prove financial deception, him using shared funds for the affair, you might have a civil case. Bring bank statements, evidence of commingled assets." "I have everything," Tony said grimly, "including receipts showing he used our joint account for ATM withdrawals on the same dates as these hotel charges." "Good. Document everything. See you both at 9. After hanging up, Tony and I ordered food, neither of us having eaten since our respective discoveries. The salmon tasted like cardboard, but we forced it down. "You know what the worst part is?" Tony said, pushing rice around his plate. I believed him. Every lie, every excuse. When he'd come home late, when he'd be distant, when he'd turn away from me in bed, I thought it was work stress. The red flag seems so obvious now. The lingerie receipt I found in his jacket last Christmas. He said it was a Secret Santa gift for a female coworker. I actually thought it was sweet that he'd put so much thought into it. Jennifer's new jewelry. She always had explanations, work bonuses, gifts from her mother, sample sales. The weekend trips that lined up. How did we not see it? Because we trusted them. Because when someone tells you they're gay and in love with you, you believe them. Because when someone marries you and has children with you, you assume they're committed. To trust, Tony raised his glass again. To never trusting again, I countered. The night continues. By 11 p.m., we'd moved from the restaurant to the bar, our table covered in printed evidence like the world's most depressing scrapbook. Other patrons gave us a wide berth, probably thinking we were planning a crime. Hey, Tony said suddenly. Want to see something funny? He pulled up Marcus's Facebook profile on his phone. Look at his last post. It was from that morning, just 12 hours ago, though it felt like a lifetime. A photo of Tony sleeping, taken from behind with the caption, "Waking up next to this amazing man never gets old. #blessed #love wins, #3 years. Love wins, I repeated. Wonder if he thought that at the Ritz-Carlton with my wife. The comments are great too. Look. Tony scrolled. You two are relationship goals. So beautiful. When's the wedding? Speaking of which, were you planning to propose? Tony's face crumbled. Had the ring already. Was going to do it at Christmas. His parents were finally coming around to him being gay. We were going to announce it at dinner. His parents. Do they know? Know what? That he's gay? They've accepted it. Took them years, but they finally came around. His mom even joined PFLAG. PFLAG. Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. Not parents and friends of guys pretending to be gay while sleeping with married women. That acronym would be too long. We both laughed. The kind of desperate laughter that's one step away from crying. My phone buzzed. Jennifer. I'd been ignoring her calls and texts for hours. Please come home. We need to talk. The kids are asking for you. I'm scared. I love you. It's not what you think. Marcus means nothing to me. That last one made me laugh out loud. Marcus means nothing to her. $18,000 worth of nothing. Tony's phone was similarly active. Marcus is begging me to come home. Says he can explain everything. What's to explain? His tongue was in the wrong gender? Maybe it's a medical condition. Selective heterosexuality. Only flares up around married women. Should be in medical journals. Patient presence with case of acute straightness when exposed to unavailable women. Midnight revelations. As the bar approached last call, our conversation turned philosophical. Do you think they love each other? Tony asked, staring into his empty glass. Does it matter? I guess I'm trying to understand. 3 years of my life. Your entire marriage. For what? If they loved each other, why not just be together? Because that would require honesty, courage. Instead, they chose deception. And our money. That too. You know what pisses me off most? Tony's words were slightly slurred now. The performance. Marcus performed gayness. Studied it like a role. Meanwhile, kids are getting kicked out of their homes for being actually gay. While he's using it as a cover story for an affair. It's almost impressive. Evil, but impressive. The dedication to the lie. Jennifer had spreadsheets for everything in our life. She must have had a whole system for keeping the stories straight. Marcus, too. Different calendars, different credit cards, different phones probably. Did you ever check his phone? Never felt the need to. Trusted him completely. Tony laughed bitterly. Found a second phone in his gym bag tonight, though. Password protected. Of course he did. The text preview showed messages from Jay. Want to guess who Jay is? My darling wife. Bingo. Latest message, can't wait for tonight. Wear the blue shirt I bought you. The girls' night that wasn't. The gay boyfriend who wasn't. The marriages that weren't what we thought they were. We paid our tab, split evenly, because trust in financial matters was all we had left, and stood to leave. Same time tomorrow? Tony asked. After the lawyer meeting? Wouldn't miss it. Bring bail money in case I strangle Marcus. Get in line. The gay community might want first crack at him for stolen valor. The hotel room. I'd booked a room at the Marriott, not wanting to go home. The space was sterile, impersonal, perfect for my mood. I sat on the bed, still in my work clothes, staring at the credit card statements I'd brought with me. My phone rang. Jennifer again. This time I answered. What? Paul, thank God. Where are you? Somewhere that doesn't smell like lies and lavender candles. The kids are asking for you. They're at your mother's. I already called and said goodnight. You called my mother? Didn't tell her anything if that's what you're worried about. Your secret's safe for another 12 hours. It's not a secret, it's complicated. Yes, you've mentioned that. Several times. Like a broken record. A lying, cheating, broken record. I never meant to hurt you. Funny way of showing it. Was the Tiffany jewelry supposed to be painless? The Victoria's Secret? The 19 hotel stays? You counted the hotel stays? I'm a financial analyst, Jennifer. I analyze finances. Apparently, I should have been analyzing my wife. Can we please just talk? Face to face? Tomorrow, with lawyers. Bring your checkbook. You'll need it. Paul, I love you. No, you don't get to say that. You don't charge love to a credit card at 24.9% interest. I hung up and turned off my phone. 3 a.m. insomnia sleep wouldn't come. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw them together. Marcus and Jennifer. Jennifer and Marcus. The gay best friend who wasn't. The faithful wife who wasn't. I grabbed the hotel notepad and started writing. Questions for tomorrow. When did it start? Whose idea was the credit card? Did they laugh about how stupid Tony and I were? How many other people knew? Why didn't they just leave us? The last question haunted me most. If they wanted to be together, why the elaborate deception? Why not divorce me? Let Tony find someone who actually wanted him. The answer came at 4 a.m., bitter and clear. They wanted it all. The stability of their primary relationships and the excitement of their affair. The financial security Tony and I provided and the thrill of their secret. They wanted their cake and to charge it to a hidden credit card too. Morning preparations. I showered at 6 a.m., put on my best suit, the one Jennifer had picked out for my promotion celebration last year, and gathered my evidence. The stack of papers felt like ammunition. Tony texted, couldn't sleep either. Marcus never came home. Probably at her place. Good. Let them strategize. We have evidence. And rage. Don't forget rage. How could I? It's keeping me warm. I stopped for coffee on the way to the lawyer's office, ordering Jennifer's usual out of habit before catching myself. The barista, who knew us as regulars, asked where my better half was. Getting worse, I replied, leaving her confused. The law office Goldberg and Associates occupied the top floor of a Wilshire high-rise, all glass and intimidation. David met me in the lobby, his expression carefully neutral. You look like hell, he observed. Feel worse, but I'm ready. Good. Channel that anger into cold calculation. Emotion doesn't win cases. Evidence does. Tony arrived next, looking equally haggard but determined. His lawyer, Patricia Chen, was everything you'd want in an attorney: sharp suit, sharper expression, and an air of barely contained violence. My client has been documenting everything, she announced. Financial fraud, emotional distress, theft of shared assets for personal use. We're prepared to file civil charges. Excellent, David replied. Coordination might benefit both our clients. We settled in the main conference room, spreading our evidence across the massive table. Credit card statements, bank records, photos, text message screenshots. a paper trail of betrayal. At 9:15, Jennifer and Marcus arrived. They looked like they'd coordinated outfits, both in black, like they were attending a funeral. Which, in a way, they were. The funeral of our relationships, our trust, our futures together. Their lawyer was exactly what I'd expected. A budget attorney who looked overwhelmed before he even sat down. His cheap suit and scuffed briefcase screamed, "This is all I could afford after maxing out credit cards." "Shall we begin?" David asked, his tone suggesting the answer was irrelevant. "The deposition." "Let's start with the facts," David began, sliding copies of the credit card statements across the table. "This account was opened 13 months ago, without my client's knowledge or consent. Under California law, that constitutes financial fraud when one spouse conceals debt." Jennifer's lawyer, his name was Phillips, tried to interject. "My client maintains she intended to inform her husband." "When?" I interrupted. "After maxing it out? After the divorce? When exactly was this transparency planned?" "Mr. Martinez, please direct questions through counsel," Phillips said weakly. "Fine. David, please ask when my wife planned to tell me about the $20,000 debt she incurred while sleeping with her gay best friend." Marcus flinched at the phrase. "Good." Patricia Chen took over. "My client, Mr. Rodriguez, has documented evidence of Mr. Chen using shared funds to finance this relationship. ATM withdrawals from their joint account corresponding to hotel stays. False expense reports for supposed business trips." "Those were legitimate business expenses," Marcus started. "The Ritz-Carlton Valentine's package was a business expense?" Tony spoke for the first time, his voice deadly calm. "What business? The business of betrayal?" "Mr. Rodriguez, please," Phillips tried again. "No," Tony continued. 3 years. 3 years I supported this man emotionally, financially, physically. 3 years of lies. "I never lied about loving you," Marcus said quietly. "You lied about everything else. Your sexuality, your whereabouts, your spending, your entire existence. But sure, let's trust you about love." David pulled out more documents. "Let's discuss the purchases. 11 separate transactions at lingerie stores. Can you explain why a gay man in a committed relationship needs to buy women's underwear?" Silence. "Multiple jewelry purchases totaling over $15,000. Were these also for Mr. Rodriguez?" More silence. "Hotel stays in Miami, Las Vegas, San Diego, Santa Barbara. Always when Mr. Martinez was told his wife was at conferences or visiting family. Care to explain?" Jennifer finally spoke. "It's not what it looks like." "Then please," David said smoothly, "explain what it is, because it looks like fraud, adultery, and financial infidelity." "We fell in love," she said simply. The room exploded. The truth comes out. Love. I stood up so fast my chair tipped over. "You fell in love? That's your explanation?" "Paul, please, no. You don't get to Paul, please me. You had 1,000 chances to tell the truth. Instead, you chose to lie. Every single day." "It wasn't supposed to happen," Marcus added. "We fought it." "Fought it?" Tony laughed bitterly. "By opening joint credit cards? By booking hotel rooms? By buying lingerie? That's some interesting fighting technique." "You don't understand," Jennifer tried again. "Then make us understand," Patricia challenged. "Explain how two people in committed relationships accidentally open a credit card and accidentally charge $20,000 in romantic expenses." "It started innocently," Marcus said. "We were friends. Real friends." "Friends don't buy each other agent provocateur," I spat. "We connected on a level that required hiding from your partners?" Tony interrupted. "That required elaborate lies? That required you to pretend to be gay for 3 years?" "I am gay," Marcus shouted. "Bisexual," Jennifer corrected quietly. The room went silent. "What?" Tony's voice was barely a whisper. "I'm bisexual," Marcus repeated. "I didn't lie about being attracted to men. I just also fell for Jennifer." "That's convenient," I said. So convenient. Did you discover this bisexuality before or after you started sleeping with my wife? It's not like that. When? I demanded. When did you suddenly realize you were attracted to women? When did my wife become so irresistible that you had to upend 4 lives? Last year, the company Christmas party. You were drunk, talking to your boss. Tony was at a showing. Jennifer and I were talking, and you decided to explore your newfound heterosexuality with a married woman? Tony's voice dripped venom. We didn't mean for it to happen. Yet it did. Repeatedly, expensively, in multiple zip codes. David cleared his throat. Let's return to the financial aspects. Who authorized this credit card? We both did, Jennifer admitted. Using Mr. Martinez's information without his consent? I may have used some joint information. That's identity theft, Patricia noted. Add that to the list. We're prepared to file criminal charges, David added, unless we can reach a civil agreement. Phillips finally found his voice. What are you proposing? The negotiation. Full assumption of debt by Miss Martinez, David began. Favorable divorce terms including primary custody for Mr. Martinez. Equitable distribution of assets excluding those used for the affair. That's outrageous, Jennifer protested. Outrageous is charging $20,000 in affair expenses to a secret credit card, I countered. For my client, Patricia continued, full reimbursement of shared funds used for this relationship, immediate vacation of the shared residence, payment of moving expenses, and emotional distress. I have nowhere to go, Marcus said quietly. Should have thought of that before you decided to play house with a married woman, Tony replied. We're also demanding full disclosure, David added. Complete timeline of the affair, all financial records, any other hidden accounts or assets. There aren't any other accounts, Jennifer said. Forgive us for not taking your word for it, I said. Trust issues and all. This is vindictive, Phillips protested weakly. This is consequences, Patricia corrected. Your clients made choices, expensive choices. Now they pay for them. We can't agree to all of this, Phillips said. Then we file charges, David said simply. Criminal fraud, civil theft, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Your clients will spend the next several years in court. Their credit will be destroyed. Their reputations ruined. Employers notified. You wouldn't, Marcus said. Try me, Tony said. You've taken 3 years of my life. What's a few more in court? The negotiation continued for 2 more hours. Phillips fought weakly for better terms, but the evidence was overwhelming. In the end, Jennifer and Marcus had no choice but to agree to most of our demands. Jennifer would take full responsibility for the debt. I would keep the house and primary custody. She'd get standard visitation and minimal alimony that would go directly to paying off the credit card. Marcus had to repay Tony $9,500, his calculated share of business trips that were actually affair weekends. He had 48 hours to vacate their apartment. Where will I live? Marcus asked. Not my problem, Tony replied. Maybe Jennifer has a couch. Oh wait, I'm keeping the good furniture in the divorce. The aftermath begins. We signed the initial agreements, pending formal divorce proceedings. As we gathered our things, Jennifer tried one more time. Paul, can we talk? Privately? No. 5 minutes. Please. We have children together. Had. Past tense. Now we have a custody agreement. She started crying again. Marcus moved to comfort her, then caught Tony's expression and thought better of it. This didn't have to be so ugly, Phillips said as we filed out. Yes, it did, David replied. When you lie for a year and steal $20,000, ugly is the only option. Outside the building, Tony and I stood in the morning sun, emotionally drained but oddly victorious. Drink tonight? He asked. Many drinks? Same place? It's becoming our spot. The Marriott Bar of Broken Trust. Catchy. Could be a country song. We shook hands, 2 men bonded by betrayal, and went our separate ways. Returning home, I drove to the house, my house now, and walked through rooms that suddenly felt foreign. Everything had Jennifer's touch. The throw pillows she'd obsessed over. The gallery wall she'd spent weeks arranging. The kitchen organized with military precision. I started boxing her things immediately. Not out of anger, okay, mostly out of anger, but because I needed to reclaim the space. Every item was a reminder of the lie I'd been living. In our closet, my closet, I found receipts, hidden in jacket pockets, purse compartments, shoe boxes, dinners I hadn't attended, movies I hadn't seen, hotels I hadn't stayed in. One receipt stopped me cold. Le Bernardin, March 3rd, my birthday. But this wasn't the one from the credit card. This was paid in cash, which meant they went twice, I said to the empty room, charged one dinner and paid cash for another. The depth of deception kept revealing itself, like peeling an onion made of lies. My phone rang. Emma's school. Mr. Martinez? Emma's not feeling well. Could you pick her up? Normal life intruding on my catastrophe. I drove to school, signed Emma out, and brought her home. She curled up on the couch while I made her soup. "Where's Mommy?" she asked. "Working," I lied. The irony wasn't lost on me. "Is she coming home tonight?" "I don't think so, sweetheart. She has a lot of work to do." "Okay. Can we watch Frozen?" "Sure." As Elsa sang about letting it go, I thought about how much I had to let go. 10 years of marriage, the future we'd planned, the trust I'd never get back, but also the burden of not knowing, the weight of being deceived, the exhaustion of living someone else's lie. The social media explosion. That evening, the news broke on social media. Someone, I suspected Tony, had posted in our community Facebook group. PSA, check your credit reports regularly. You never know what secret cards your spouse might have with their gay best friend. #TrustButVerify #20Cafair. The comments exploded within minutes. Our social circle was small, incestuous with gossip. Everyone knew everyone, and everyone had opinions. Is this about who I think it's about? OMG, I knew something was off with them. Poor Paul and Tony. Nobody deserves this. Wait, Marcus is straight? Bisexual, apparently. By himself now, though. Jennifer's Facebook went private within an hour. Marcus deleted his entirely. But the internet never forgets. Screenshots were already circulating. The texts started rolling in. From Derek, "Holy shit, dude. Drinks soon?" From my sister, "I'm going to kill her." From Jennifer's best friend, "I had no idea. I'm so sorry." From my mom, "What's Facebook saying about credit cards?" I turned off my phone and poured a drink. The gossip would run its course with or without my participation. Week 1. The practical reality. The first week was about survival and logistics. Jennifer moved in with her mother, who called me crying. "I don't understand," she sobbed. "I raised her better than this? I thought I married better than this. What about the children?" They stay with me during the week. Jennifer gets supervised visits until the divorce is final. Supervised? That seems harsh. $20,000 in secret debt seems harsh, too. Emma and Jake adjusted with the resilience of children. We told them Mommy needed to stay with Grandma for a while because of grown-up problems. They accepted it with the same ease they accepted explanations about why the sky was blue. The real challenge was the questions from other parents. "Is it true about Marcus?" asked Sophia's mom at school pickup. "Which part?" "The gay thing?" Apparently, it was more of a suggestion than a firm identity. But he and Tony seemed so happy. Seemed is the operative word. The gay community's reaction was particularly harsh. Marcus had been a visible part of the community: pride parades, fundraisers, activism. His deception felt like betrayal on multiple levels. "He used us as cover," said James, a mutual friend. "Played gay to hide an affair. Do you know how harmful that is? Kids are dying for being gay, and he's using it as a costume." The credit score aftermath. 2 weeks post-discovery, the financial reality hit hard. The credit card company had been notified of the fraud investigation. The account was frozen, but the debt remained. Jennifer's credit score plummeted to 492. The combination of the maxed card, missed payments during the legal proceedings, and the fraud flag destroyed her financial reputation. She called me crying. I can't get approved for anything. Not even a Target card. Should have thought of that before opening secret credit cards. I need to rent an apartment. Nowhere will take me with this score. Maybe Marcus can co-sign. Oh wait, his credit's probably trash too. This isn't funny, Paul. You're right. It's hilarious. You destroyed your financial future for hotel rooms and overpriced dinners. Hope the sex was worth 7 years of bad credit. She hung up on me. It wouldn't be the last time. Tony's revenge Tony, meanwhile, took a different approach to revenge: social warfare. He kept the apartment but redecorated completely, posting the transformation on Instagram with captions like "new space, new energy, no liars," and finally got the Wi-Fi password changed. When Marcus tried to retrieve his belongings, Tony had already donated anything of value to an LGBTQ youth shelter. You want to play with gay identity? Tony told him. Then your stuff can help actual gay kids. Marcus threatened legal action. Patricia Chen shut him down with receipts showing he'd used Tony's money to buy those items anyway. The pettiest revenge? Tony started dating again immediately and publicly. His new boyfriend, actually gay, verified with references, was everything Marcus wasn't: honest, employed, and genuinely attracted to only men. How can you move on so fast? Marcus texted him. Easy. I grieved the real relationship while you were in hotels with Jennifer. I'm just dating now. The kids' questions. 3 weeks in, the questions from Emma and Jake got harder. Why doesn't Uncle Marcus visit anymore? Jake asked during dinner. Uncle Marcus and Daddy had a disagreement. About what? Adult stuff. Is that why Mommy's at Grandma's too? Kids are observant. They'd connected the dots even if they didn't understand the picture. Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes, I explained carefully. And sometimes those mistakes mean people can't be friends anymore. Did Mommy make a mistake? Yes. Did you? My mistake was not seeing other people's mistakes sooner. That's confusing. It's confusing for me too, buddy. Emma, older and more perceptive, asked the question I'd been dreading. Are you and Mommy getting divorced? Probably, sweetheart. Because of the mistake? Because of lots of mistakes. Will we have 2 houses like Connor from my class? Maybe. Would that be okay? She thought about it. Can I have 2 bedrooms? 1 pink and 1 purple? Children's priorities are beautifully simple. The unraveling continues. A month post-discovery, more truth emerged. Jennifer's co-workers reached out, guilty about their silence. We suspected, her colleague Linda admitted over coffee. The long lunches, the afternoon meetings, the glow she'd have some mornings. And nobody said anything? What were we supposed to say? Hey, we think you're cheating on your husband? Without proof? Fair point. For what it's worth, we didn't know it was Marcus. We thought it was someone from the New York office. That would have been simpler, less performative. Linda showed me Jennifer's work calendar. The client meetings that corresponded with hotel charges. The training sessions during romantic dinners. The conference calls that lasted entire afternoons. She was good at it, I admitted. The lying. She was better at her affair than her job, honestly. Her performance reviews have been slipping. Probably hard to focus on spreadsheets when you're managing a double life. Triple life, really. Wife, mother, mistress. Quadruple if you count the fictional version she presented at work. Marcus's attempts at redemption. 6 weeks in, Marcus tried to rehabilitate his image. He started a blog about sexual fluidity and the pressure to choose labels. It was a masterclass in missing the point. Society forced me into a box, one post read. The expectation to be either gay or straight created impossible choices. Tony responded with his own post. Nobody forced you to lie for 3 years. That was all you. Marcus tried to position himself as a victim of societal expectations. The LGBTQ community wasn't buying it. You had a boyfriend who loved you, commented one activist. You had a community that accepted you. You chose deception. Don't blame society for your selfishness. The blog lasted 2 weeks before the comments became too brutal to continue. Financial reckoning. 2 months in, the full financial picture emerged. Forensic accounting revealed the $18,547 on the credit card was just the tip cash withdrawals, totaling another $8,000. Jennifer's personal savings account was empty. Marcus had been skimming from his and Tony's joint account total cost of the affair. Approximately $30,000. $30,000, I told my therapist. That's a year of college, a car, a down payment on a condo. How does that make you feel? Like I was married to a stranger, a very expensive stranger. The money seems to bother you more than the affair itself. The affair was emotional. The money is quantifiable. I can measure exactly how much she valued our marriage. Less than $30,000. That's one way to look at it. What's another way? She valued the affair enough to risk $30,000 in debt. That's worse. Yes, it is. The divorce proceedings. The actual divorce took 6 months. California's mandatory waiting period meant we couldn't rush, even though emotionally we were already done. Jennifer fought the custody arrangement. Her lawyer argued that infidelity didn't impact parenting ability. Your Honor, David countered, this isn't just about infidelity. It's about sustained deception, financial fraud, and decision-making that prioritized personal gratification over family stability. The judge, a woman who'd clearly seen everything, was unmoved by Jennifer's tears. Mrs. Martinez, you exposed your family to significant financial liability without your spouse's knowledge or consent. That shows poor judgment that could impact the children. I got primary custody. Jennifer got weekends and Wednesday dinners. The financial settlement was brutal, but fair. Since the debt was incurred without my knowledge for non-marital purposes, Jennifer bore full responsibility. She also had to pay my legal fees since her fraud necessitated the forensic accounting. I'll be paying this off forever, she said after the ruling. Should have thought of that before opening the card. You're enjoying this. No, I'm enjoying justice. There's a difference. Tony's civil victory. Tony's case against Marcus was settled out of court. The evidence was overwhelming. Bank records, receipts, a paper trail of financial deception. Marcus had to repay $9,500 in misused funds, cover Tony's moving expenses, pay emotional distress damages of $5,000. Provide a written apology, Tony framed it. $14,500, Tony told me over our regular drinks, plus the apartment, the furniture, and what's left of my dignity. Can he pay it? Payment plan, $200 a month for 6 years. That's a long reminder of his choices. Every month when that payment hits, I hope he thinks about what he lost. You? Me, but also himself. The real version, not the performance. The professional fallout. 8 months post-discovery, the professional consequences hit. Jennifer's affair had impacted her work performance, and layoffs provided convenient cover for her termination. They said it was restructuring, she told me during a custody exchange, but I know it was because of everything. Hard to trust someone who lived a double life for a year. You could give me a reference. I could, but I won't. Paul, please. I need to work. I have debt to pay. Not my problem. Maybe Marcus is hiring. Marcus had already lost his job. The blog posts, the social media drama, the legal proceedings, it all became too much for his employer. Not aligned with company values was the official reason. He moved to Portland, attempting a fresh start where nobody knew his story. Last I heard, he was working at a coffee shop and identifying as queer, a conveniently ambiguous label. 1 year later. A year after discovering the credit card, I was in a different place. Literally. I'd redecorated the entire house, removing every trace of Jennifer's influence. Emotionally, therapy helped, as did the support group Tony and I accidentally started. We called it Survivors of Straight Spouses, a monthly gathering of people who'd been betrayed in similar ways. You'd be surprised how common it is. My wife's gay best friend turned out to be straight, became a common refrain, with variations. My husband's lesbian coworker wasn't that lesbian. My boyfriend's asexual roommate was very sexual. My girlfriend's platonic study buddy studied anatomy. We shared stories, strategies, and sometimes lawyers' numbers. It was cheaper than therapy and involved more wine. Sarah joined after her husband's aromantic life coach turned out to be very romantic. She had an infectious laugh and a credit score of 800. I run credit checks on first dates now, she admitted. Is that crazy? Crazy smart, I replied. Want to compare FICO scores? It was a joke, mostly. The kids' adjustment Emma and Jake adapted to the new normal with surprising ease. 2 homes, 2 bedrooms, 2 sets of rules. Jennifer had them weekends, maintaining the fiction of normalcy with Pinterest-worthy activities that she posted on her rebuilt social media. Mom took us to pottery painting, Emma announced one Sunday return. That's nice. Did you have fun? It was okay. She cried in the bathroom, though. Oh. She does that sometimes, when she thinks we're not looking. Kids see everything. Jake was more direct. Is Mom poor now? Why do you ask? She said we can't go to Disneyland because of credit problems. Mom has some bills to pay. Because of the mistake. Because of the consequences of the mistake. I don't want to make expensive mistakes. Then learn from other people's, buddy. The wedding revelation. 18 months post-discovery, I found out how deep the deception went. Jennifer's former colleague Linda reached out with something she'd been sitting on. I debated telling you this, she said over coffee, but you deserve to know. She showed me photos from Jennifer's phone, ones she'd airdropped during a presentation by accident months before the discovery. Jennifer and Marcus at what was clearly a wedding venue. When was this? Last January. She said she was scouting venues for her sister. Her sister got married 5 years ago. I know. I think they were planning something. The photos showed them trying on rings, tasting cake, looking at flower arrangements. They'd been planning a future while Tony and I lived in ignorance. They were going to leave us, I said, the realization hitting. They were planning their own wedding. The credit card might have been for that, building up points for a honeymoon. $30,000 in wedding planning charged to a secret card. I'm sorry, Paul. I should have told you sooner. No, this is perfect. Thank you. I sent the photos to David. The fraud case suddenly had new evidence of premeditation. The legal aftermath, part 2. With the wedding venue photos, David successfully argued for modification of the divorce settlement. Premeditated fraud carries weight, even in no-fault California. The judge was not amused. Mrs. Martinez, these photos suggest planning that goes beyond a spontaneous affair. This was calculated deception with intent to defraud. Jennifer's portion of the debt increased. She also lost claim to several assets she'd been fighting for. The judge particularly noted that using marital funds to plan a wedding with someone else showed egregious breach of fiduciary duty. You destroyed me, Jennifer said outside the courthouse. No, you destroyed yourself. I just documented it. I loved him. You loved the secret, the excitement, the performance. If you'd loved him, you'd have been honest. Like you would have given me a divorce. We'll never know, will we? Because you never asked. You just took. Tony's new life Tony thrived in the aftermath. He leveraged his story into a successful blog about trust and relationships. The gay best friend was actually straight became his most viral post, shared thousands of times. He started dating Marcus, a different Marcus, because the universe has a sense of humor. This Marcus was a pediatrician, Gold Star gay, and had a credit score of 820. I checked, Tony told me. Made him show me his Experian report on the second date. That's romantic. Romance is dead. Financial transparency is forever. Want to be my best man? Only if new Marcus can be a groomsman. I want original Marcus to see what he lost via Instagram. Petty. I love it. The wedding was beautiful, small, intimate, genuinely joyful. Tony's vows included the line, I promise to never pretend to be someone I'm not, sexually or otherwise. Original Marcus didn't see it via Instagram. He'd blocked us all and moved to Portland permanently. 2 years later, the credit report anniversary. On the 2-year anniversary of discovering the credit card, I met Tony for drinks at our usual spot, the Marriott bar that had become our unofficial headquarters. To credit reports, Tony raised his glass. To actual gay best friends, I countered. To financial transparency. To emotional honesty. To never trusting anyone named Marcus again. That seems unfair to new Marcus. True, to trusting but verifying. We drank and compared notes on our new lives. Tony was happy with new Marcus. I was dating Sarah, the credit score enthusiast from our support group. Life had moved on. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if we hadn't found out? Tony asked. They'd probably be married by now, using our money for their honeymoon. While we raised kids and paid mortgages, oblivious. Some people might say ignorance is bliss. Those people never had their credit destroyed by a lying spouse. Fair point. You know what the strangest part is? Tony continued. I'm grateful. Not for the betrayal, but for the discovery. I could have spent decades with someone who was performing love instead of feeling it. Same. Jennifer and I were comfortable, stable, but it wasn't real. Not if she could do this. Maybe that's the real gift of that credit report. It showed us the truth. Expensive truth. Worth every penny of the debt I didn't have to pay. The children's understanding. As Emma got older, her questions got more sophisticated. At 10, she understood more than we'd realized. Dad, was Mom cheating on you with Uncle Marcus? I nearly choked on my coffee. Why do you ask that? Kids at school said things, and Uncle Marcus wasn't really gay, was he? It's complicated, sweetheart. That's what adults say when they don't want to tell the truth. She had me there. Yes, I said finally. Mom and Marcus made some bad choices. They hurt people who loved them. Is that why you and Mom divorced? That's part of it. Do you hate her? No, I hate what she did. But I don't hate her. She's your mom. Do you hate Uncle Marcus? I nothing Uncle Marcus. He's just someone who used to be in our lives. That's sad. Sometimes people leave our lives for good reasons. It makes room for better people. Like Sarah. Like Sarah. Emma nodded, processing. I'm never going to lie about who I love. Good plan, kiddo. The financial recovery. 3 years post-discovery, my credit score had fully recovered. The fraud documentation protected me from the worst consequences. Jennifer's score, however, remained in ruins. She called occasionally, desperate. I can't get approved for a car loan. My 12-year-old Honda is dying. Take the bus. Paul, please. For the kids, I need reliable transportation for them. Should have thought about that before maxing out secret credit cards. How long are you going to punish me? I'm not punishing you. Capital One is. Experian is. TransUnion is. I'm just not rescuing you from consequences. I made a mistake. A $20,000, 13-month mistake with my gay best friend, who wasn't gay. He's bisexual. He's in Portland working at a coffee shop. What he is or isn't doesn't matter anymore. She eventually got a car loan at 23% interest from a predatory lender. The payment was more than our old mortgage, consequences compounding like interest. The support group evolution. Our informal support group evolved into something bigger. Straight Spouses Anonymous became a registered nonprofit. We offered resources, legal referrals, and most importantly, validation for people who'd been deceived. The stories were remarkably similar. Secret credit cards, elaborate cover stories. Friends who were more than friends. The shock of discovery. The financial aftermath. We created pamphlets, check your credit report quarterly, and red flags in platonic friendships, and when gay best friends aren't a survival guide. Tony wrote our mission statement, supporting those betrayed by partners who used friendship as camouflage for affairs and promoting financial transparency in all relationships. We even got corporate sponsorship from a credit monitoring service. Their tagline, because love is blind, but credit scores aren't. The Hollywood ending. That wasn't people always want to know if Jennifer and Marcus ended up together. If their great love story survived the exposure, it didn't. They tried for about 6 months after the divorce. Without the thrill of secrecy, the glamour of expensive dinners, the excitement of deception, they discovered they didn't actually like each other that much. He's selfish, Jennifer told a mutual friend, and terrible with money. She's controlling, Marcus reportedly said, and the debt is suffocating. They broke up via text message. The friend who told me showed me screenshots. It was pathetic. 2 people who destroyed lives for a relationship that couldn't survive reality. Jennifer now dates a divorced accountant who makes her show monthly credit card statements. Marcus remains in Portland, last seen on a dating app identifying as hetero-flexible, whatever that means. The mutual friend who shared this information asked if I felt vindicated. No, I answered honestly. Just sad. They destroyed 2 good relationships for something that couldn't even last a year in the daylight. Maybe it was never about the relationship, she suggested. Maybe it was about the thrill. $30,000 is an expensive thrill. Some people pay more for less excitement. Those people usually don't destroy families in the process. The wedding with Sarah 4. Years after the credit report discovery, I married Sarah in a small ceremony. Tony was my best man, knew Marcus was a groomsman, and our support group friends filled the audience. Sarah's vows included, I promise to maintain separate credit cards while sharing my heart completely. I promise that my gay best friends will actually be gay. And I promise to never, ever open a secret account for any reason. The audience laughed. Those who knew our story laughed harder. My vows were simpler. I promise to trust you while trusting but verifying. I promise to love you with the wisdom that comes from surviving betrayal. And I promise that our love will never require a payment plan. Emma was my flower girl, Jake my ring bearer. They'd grown into the new family dynamic beautifully. Sarah had won them over with her policy of radical honesty. She answered their questions directly, no matter how uncomfortable. Are you going to cheat on my dad? Jake had asked during their first meeting. No, cheating is for people who are too cowardly to be honest. Mom was a coward? That's for you to decide when you're older. I think she was. That's fair. Jennifer wasn't invited to the wedding, obviously. She found out through social media and sent a text. Congratulations, I hope you're happy. I didn't respond. Some bridges, once burned, don't need rebuilding. The financial wisdom. The experience turned me into an inadvertent financial advisor. Friends, family, even strangers who'd heard my story sought advice. I developed a simple system. The Martinez method for financial protection. Check credit reports monthly, not quarterly. All major purchases require dual notification. No joint accounts with non-spouses. Password protect everything trust, but verify all financial claims. If someone says it's complicated, it's a lie gay best friends don't need credit cards, I started giving talks at financial planning seminars. The hidden costs of hidden affairs became my signature presentation. The slides included actual credit card statements, redacted, showing the pattern of deception. One slide always got gasps, a graph showing the true cost of Jennifer's affair. Initial debt, $18,547 interest over payment period, $11,234. Legal fees, $45,000. Lost assets in divorce, $150,000. Total cost, $224,781. That's a $250,000 affair, I tell audiences. Hope the room service was worth it. The children's wisdom. By the time Emma turned 13, she'd developed her own philosophy about relationships, shaped by our experience. "I'm never sharing passwords," she announced one day. "That's smart. And I'm going to have my own bank account that nobody knows about." "Well, your future spouse should probably know it exists." "Fine. They can know it exists, but not the balance." "Fair enough. And if I have a best friend who wants to open a credit card with me?" "Run. Running. Got it." Jake, at 11, was more pragmatic. "I'm just going to stay single forever. It's cheaper." That's one approach. "Did you know Mom still owes money from the divorce?" "How do you know that?" "She was crying about it on the phone. Said she'll be paying until I'm in college." That's what happens when you make expensive mistakes. I'm never making expensive mistakes. Good plan, buddy. Except maybe a PlayStation 5. That's a different kind of expensive mistake. The unexpected encounter. 5 years post-discovery, I ran into Marcus at an airport. I was flying to Seattle for business. He was apparently visiting from Portland. We saw each other at the same moment, both freezing like deer in headlights. He looked older, grayer, thinner. The confident swagger was gone, replaced by something that looked like permanent exhaustion. "Paul," he said quietly. "Marcus." We stood there awkwardly, two men who'd once called each other brother, now strangers with too much history. "How are—" he started. "Don't," I cut him off. "We're not doing small talk." "Fair enough." "How's the coffee shop?" He looked surprised, I knew. It's work. I'm actually managing it now." "Congratulations." "Thanks. I heard you remarried." "I did." "Good. That's good. How's your credit score?" He actually laughed, a bitter sound. "Still screwed. Yours?" "Pristine. Always was, always will be." "Must be nice." "It is." We stood in silence again. Gate announcements echoed around us. "For what it's worth," he said finally. "I'm sorry. I know it doesn't mean anything now, but you're right. It doesn't mean anything." I loved her. No, you loved the idea of her, the forbidden fruit, the excitement. If you'd loved her, you'd have been honest from the beginning. Maybe. Definitely. Love doesn't require lies. I'm bisexual, Paul. That part wasn't a lie. That part doesn't matter. You could be trisexual for all I care. You lied, you cheated, you stole. Your sexuality is the least interesting thing about your betrayal. His flight was called. Portland via San Francisco. Take care, Paul. Check your credit report, Marcus. He walked away, shoulders slumped. I felt nothing. Not anger, not satisfaction, nothing. He'd become a stranger who happened to know my history. The legacy. 7 years later, my story has become legend in our social circle. New couples hear it as a cautionary tale. Financial planners use it as a case study. Therapists reference it when discussing financial infidelity. Emma, now 17 and preparing for college, wrote her Common App essay about it. When I was 8, I learned that Uncle Marcus wasn't gay, and my parents were getting divorced. These facts were related. The lesson I learned wasn't about sexuality or even betrayal. It was about the intersection of love and money, trust and verification, actions and consequences. My father likes to say that love is blind, but credit scores aren't. It's become a family joke, but it's also shaped how I view relationships. Not with cynicism, but with clarity. Love should make you more honest, not less. It should inspire transparency, not deception. I plan to study finance not because I love numbers, but because I've seen how financial literacy can protect you from emotional devastation. My mother learned this lesson at 24.99% APR. I plan to learn it in a classroom instead. She got into Yale. The final tally. When people ask me to summarize the experience, I tell them this. Jennifer and Marcus's affair cost 2 marriages, 2 credit scores, multiple friendships, children's innocence, professional reputations, about $30,000 in direct charges. Over $200,000 in divorce costs 7 years of financial recovery. A lifetime of trust issues. What I gained? Freedom from deception. A bulletproof credit score, an amazing second wife, hard-won wisdom, a successful nonprofit. The ability to spot lies, a great story for parties. The knowledge that I survived. Worth it? Not the way I'd have chosen to learn these lessons. But since I didn't get a choice in the betrayal, I chose to make the best of the recovery. The children's future Emma went to Yale, studying behavioral economics with a focus on financial psychology. Her senior thesis, The Hidden Economy of Infidelity, How Financial Deception Predicts Relationship Outcomes. Jake chose engineering at Cal Poly. I like things that work the way they're supposed to, he explained. Machines don't lie about their functionality. Both kids maintained relationships with Jennifer, though they were never quite the same. Trust, once broken at a young age, leaves permanent marks. I love Mom, Emma told me before leaving for college, but I'll never fully trust her. Is that wrong? No, it's honest. Trust is earned and some people forfeit their right to it. Do you think she regrets it? Every time she makes a credit card payment. That's for another 13 years. Actions have consequences. Long-term, high-interest consequences. The support group Success Straight Spouses Anonymous grew into a national organization. We had chapters in 12 cities, an online forum with thousands of members, and an annual conference sponsored by 3 major credit monitoring services. Tony became the official spokesperson, his story resonating with betrayed partners everywhere. His TED Talk, When Your Gay Best Friend Isn't. A story of love, lies, and credit cards went viral. Key points from his talk. Trust your instincts. Verify financial claims. Question convenient labels. Check credit reports. Monthly secrets multiply like interest. The truth always surfaces. Recovery is possible. The comment section was a goldmine of similar stories. Apparently, the gay best friend who wasn't was more common than anyone realized. 10 years later. The reunion. A decade after the discovery, our support group held a reunion dinner. The original members, those of us who'd founded it in pain and wine, gathered to celebrate survival. To credit reports, Tony began the toast as tradition demanded. To real friends, we responded. To financial transparency. To emotional honesty. To never trusting anyone named Marcus. Hey, new Marcus protested. I showed you my FICO score on the second date. Exception granted, Tony conceded. To trusting but verifying. We went around the table, sharing updates. Sarah and I were still married, still separate credit cards, still checking reports monthly. Tony and new Marcus had adopted twins. Paid for with honestly earned money, Linda had divorced her own cheating husband after finding his secret card. Derek had started a financial planning firm, specializing in post-betrayal recovery. Even Jennifer's mother, Helen, had joined, needing support after discovering her daughter's deception. You know what's funny? Helen said, after her third wine. I used to worry Paul wasn't good enough for Jennifer. Turns out she wasn't good enough for him. Mom, I said gently, that's not... It's true. I raised a liar, a cheat, a financial fraudster. Where did I go wrong? You didn't. People make their own choices. She chose so poorly. Yes, she did. Is she still paying off that card? 3 more years. Good. Every payment is a reminder. Of what? That actions have consequences, and that credit card interest is a bitch. We all drank to that. The final chapter, 15 years after finding that credit report, I can say this. Jennifer and Marcus did me a favor. Not intentionally, obviously, but their betrayal forced me to rebuild my life on a foundation of truth instead of comfortable lies. I found Sarah, who shares my values of radical honesty and financial transparency. We built a life together that's genuine, not performed. Our love doesn't require secret credit cards or elaborate deceptions. Emma graduated summa cum laude, works for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and runs workshops on financial literacy for young couples. She credits her career to learning early that money and betrayal often go hand in hand. Jake designed an app that alerts users to unusual credit activity. He called it Trust Buddy. His bio says, inspired by family experience to help others avoid financial betrayal. It has 2 million downloads. Jennifer finally paid off the credit card last month. She sent me a screenshot of the zero balance with the message, "It's over." I responded, "The debt is over. The consequences are permanent." She didn't reply. Marcus disappeared from social media entirely. Last update from mutual friends. Still in Portland, still in coffee, still identifying as complicated. Some people never learn. Tony and new Marcus celebrated their 10th anniversary with a credit report exchange, their tradition. Both scores over 800. "That's sexy," Tony posted. Transparency is the new foreplay. The lessons. If you're reading this because you've discovered your own version of a secret credit card, know this: you will survive. The pain is temporary, the wisdom permanent. Check every financial account, document everything lawyer up immediately. Trust your instincts. Rebuild with radically honest people. Your credit score can recover. Your ability to trust can too. Sometimes the worst discoveries lead to the best outcomes. And always remember, love shouldn't cost $18,547.23 at 24.99% APR. If it does, it's not love. It's fraud with a romantic soundtrack. Epilogue, the credit report. I still have it. The original credit report that changed everything. Framed in my office, behind the desk where I run the nonprofit that helps others navigate similar betrayals. Visitors always ask about it. I tell them the story, the whole story, and watch their faces cycle through shock, anger, and finally, understanding. Check your credit reports, I always conclude. Monthly, without fail. Because in the end, the numbers don't lie, even when the people do. Especially when the people do. The frame holds more than just paper. It holds the moment my life split into before and after. The moment comfortable lies gave way to uncomfortable truths. The moment I learned that Jennifer's gay best friend wasn't gay, wasn't just a friend, and definitely wasn't worth $20,000. But that discovery, that was priceless. Because it led me here, to truth, to Sarah, to a life built on honesty instead of performance, transparency instead of deception, real love instead of expensive lies. Marcus was right about one thing. It was complicated. But the credit report, that was simple. Black and white. Numbers and facts. The mathematical proof that my marriage was a lie, and my wife's gay best friend was neither. Some people say love conquers all. I say credit reports conquer more. And when your spouse's gay best friend is charging champagne and lingerie to a secret card, that's not love conquering, that's fraud winning. Until you check the credit report. Then truth wins. Truth always wins. It just sometimes takes 24.99% APR to get there.